Speaking of Canadian musicians, one band that I think doesn't get enough respect anymore is April 1.
Oh my God, yes.
They were so popular late 70s, early
Huge.
80s. And they're fantastic. The musicianship in that band is
Do you know that
outstanding.
an Elmer guy is now going to be playing guitar in that? Knock Pat Ann from 8 Seconds.
Really?
He's an Elmer guy, where I grew up.
Yeah, nice.
You want to interview him?
Okay.
Yeah, if you can get him down here, you want to. He's a great
He's
guitar
good.
player. He's a good vocalist. When I saw that, I was very proud to be an Elmer guy, you know, and you know, 8 Seconds had great success when they did that album and stuff, and I mean, right till this day, you know, Kiss You When It's Dangerous is still playing like all over the place. And Mac's a great guy. He's an awesome guitar player. Does a lot of Facebook videos. Love the guy. He's very talented, and you know, yeah, he's
personable, isn't he?
because Myles is retiring, so
Oh,
he's stepping in, and that's like, wow, so cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
You want to get a hold of that guy, or I'll send him a message
All
for
right.
it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Kind of a controversial topic because not everybody is into Rush. But what do you think of Alex Lifeson talking about
Great
Canadian
innovator.
guitars?
Yeah. He was never my thing. It's just I was never a huge Rush fan. I was a Rush fan, just not like most guys that are like, oh, up here. And I have a great amount of respect. I mean, they have great songs. When they went a little more modern, I kind of went, nah, not my cup of tea, but great deal of respect. Awesome musicians. Alex Lifeson, a great innovator. Most people don't know that what they're hearing on the earlier albums was actually a hollow body he was playing, and that's how he got his sound. And it's a very iconic guitar sound. He played a hollow body.
What kind of guitar was it?
I think it was a 335.
335.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think it was a 335 through Marshall and
Yeah.
stuff. And I mean, those albums were great. You know.
One of my bass guitar heroes is Geddy Lee.
Nice.
I got
That
to-
guy's amazing.
I know.
I mean, you can't talk about a bass player that does anything on a bass while he's singing different parts. I mean, this
And
is another
playing
thing why I can't
bass
even play
pedals.
drums because and a Taurus bass pedals. I mean, I can't even play drums because I don't have that right brain, left brain thing. I have rhythm, I have great beat. I cannot play drums because I have a hard time singing parts and playing guitar because I don't have the left brain, right brain thing. So yeah, Mondo respect.
One of the most talented drummers ever is Jeff Porcaro.
Oh!
Toto and
Don't even go there.
He was all in so many pop songs that we don't know about.
And this is the quintessential drumming guy, like all the drummers that Steely Dan used. They used all those classic drummers that just had that feel. Porcaro was one of those guys. He was like the technical with feel guy. There's nobody like him. Nobody.
Yeah, well, John
And-
Bonham's close to it.
Yeah. But I mean, he's the guy, you know.
Yeah.
But
They got
well, I mean,
swing. That's what
yeah.
they call it.
the swing, exactly.
I remember
That's
seeing a
and he
video.
was behind the beat too.
Yeah.
But he could, you know, he played with time.
Yeah.
He was very good at it.
The-
And the feel, the dynamics. The drummer is all about the dynamics.
They have to be part of the song. They're just not
Yeah.
a utility player.
Well, I mean, all the guys in Toto, they're
Yeah.
wow.
Amazing band. Lukather.
Lukather,
Yeah.
monster.
Yeah.
Monster. I mean, most people don't even know that all the guitar tracks on Thriller were his.
Oh, really?
Michael Jackson's Thriller, except for Eddie Van Halen's solo.
Okay.
And so many other things. You know, there's so many of those guitar players that are producers today that people don't know about. You know, that are just huge, incredible players. You know, there's so much. That's what's cool about music. There's so much depth to it. You can discover. I mean, you could spend your whole life just digging into music, finding out who's who does what, and you'd never be bored. There'd be something every day.
Absolutely. That's why I
Every
do this.
second.
It's to try to pass on our knowledge to the younger generation, to keep guitar as a viable instrument, and just to, because I have a love of guitar. And anyway.
Yeah.
In case you're hearing some background sounds, we're in a rehearsal studios and it's not entirely soundproof, so sorry for the sound bleed from the next door room, but we do what we can.
Adds a little mood.
Yeah, exactly. Girls,
Bit of realness.
The ladies are nice.
Yeah, it is real, eh?
She's a good singer.
Rock and roll.
So we've done a lot of chit chatting. Why don't you plug one of your guitars in? The telly shape that you just showed me.
The what?
The Strat shape.
The Strat?
Yeah, the one with the upside down headstock.
So basically, that's what I was saying earlier, is that the pickup's going to sound a lot brighter and more attack the closer it is to the bridge, because there's more tension back here. So the sound basically is coming between here and here mostly.
You're playing with head rush pedal boards?
Yeah, head rush pedal board, just because I'm a digital guy.
Okay. Get a picture of that.
It's just too easy, and it's you can do anything with it. You know, we can argue about what's best, but I like tube amps. I just don't like what they do live. I find them very hard. I've played a lot of live gigs and loving the tube sound a lot over the years. I just don't like how it reacts in different environments.
Especially when it gets hot.
There's something that I'll call sag.
Yeah.
That I absolutely hate. Absolutely hate sag, because you can't get an amp to do what it used to do in the 60s, because you can't get the volume that they had. You can't fill a room anymore, and trying to get a tube amp to sound really good live in a venue today is so difficult, unless you're a huge band like, Guns N' Roses or AC/DC. Right. They can move air. In a club, you can't move air, especially with distortion. Distortion is compressed and noisy, and you tend to lose all the tone.
So you gotta kind of fake it with this.
Yeah, it fakes pretty good, because you can. Me and Kelly were talking about this earlier, but with a rig like this, you can send a sound to your amp, and you can send a direct sound with a fake cabinet and mic directly into the board of the venue. That way, there's no mic interference picking up all kinds of stuff. You still get what you think sounds really good coming out of the cabinet. And then people in the front of the house or in the venue get to hear whatever's coming straight out of there, which is, usually pretty cool. So you can tell the different sounds, and I'll just play a chord just so.
Is it a Marshall amp? What amp do you have dialed up?
I have to check. It's. I don't think it's a Marshall. That one's probably a Bogner. Yeah, the Marshalls they sound good. It depends for what. The Marshall sometimes has that blurby bass notes, like the boo boo boo, which I'm not a big fan of. It's not a tight enough sound for me. So actually, I've got more of a distorted sound right now, and I don't have a patch plugged in, but we can almost plug it directly into Kelly's amp. But when we get into the heavier stuff, then this is where this thing will shine. So
that sounds awesome. You brought some pieces of wood here.
Yeah, I did.
Works in progress. You brought a template of a guitar that you made before.
Well, actually, it's the number 2 of the last guitar I've done. If you want to really go over really quickly, this is a model I call a TR. It's actually a neck through It's actually a neck-through guitar, so.
That is a beautiful
brought-
guitar. How did
Thank
you
you.
get that finish? Without revealing your secrets.
It's a complete mistake, actually.
A nice mistake.
Yeah, it was a nice mistake. The idea was to get it. This guitar is basically a tribute to, I think, the nicest hair metal ever made, hair metal guitar ever made in the '80s. Rand Havner basically called his guitar Rand, and this is basically pretty well what he did. Mine's a little different. Has some new innovations, but probably the sexiest guitar ever made. And basically, I fell in love with it when I was 16 years old, and I told myself at some point I'll own one. At 55, I made myself one.
The dream never
Yeah.
dies. Never stop dreaming.
And yeah, exactly. And the paint job wasn't quite like this, but it has brush strokes. So after making this thing, I tried the technique. It wasn't working out with my airbrush. And I did what I usually do. It's like, oh, here we go. And I went at it, and 2 hours later I finished with something and looked at it and went, hey, not bad. Walked away from it, came back and went, wow, I'm really digging this. And the next day I was looking at it going, you know what, I like this better than the Rand version of it. And everybody really, really likes it. So it was a happy mistake. I really, really enjoy this color. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's totally 80s, and I've always been about the hair, even though I don't
Kind of
have
reminds
any.
me of Prince.
Yeah, somebody else has actually said that. Yeah.
Do you mind if I grab that guitar and just
Yeah,
show
for sure, yeah.
a little close up?
Yeah,
Because,
absolutely.
pretty unusual. And then what I like is this bridge. It's
Yeah, that bridge has some cool things. It's
so describe these little switches here. There's 3 switches.
yeah, one of them's a three-way switch that basically lets you choose the bridge pickup, the bridge and neck pickup, or the neck pickup. And the 2 other switches are actually to split the coils on each, because this isn't a single coil, it's actually a mini bucker.
Okay.
And that way you can get a lot of sound variations, because my designs, it's always about, it's not only about what it looks like, because this actually looks like it's gonna shred, which it does, but if I played behind a curtain, I can make this thing sound a lot like a Strat. I can make it all sound a lot like a Telecaster by tweaking the volume, the tone, and splitting coils, which is kind of amazing.
Nice.
So my designs are always about, I can do everything. If you can't play a whole show with one guitar, to me there's a problem.
Yeah.
So I try to design my guitars so you can play a whole show and get all the sounds you can get. Be comfortable, balanced, have tone. It's supposed to do what you want it to do.
Right.
Comfort. There's a lot of things I incorporate in my guitar making.
You don't cover up the springs either.
No, I don't like back plates for this, for something like this. What's important to me, and we haven't talked about it, construction and stuff like this, but there's a couple of things I think you should get when you get a nice guitar, is that there's nothing I dislike more than buying a high-end guitar that has back plates and screws, and especially when they don't match the guitar. So my big faux pas is like, if you're gonna spend $4,000, $5,000 on a guitar, and you're getting back plates that have screws, there's a problem.
Yeah, the prices of guitars now are just outrageous. They've gotten very expensive, and they're not what they used to be. I don't think, anyways.
To me, it's got to be sexy.
Yeah.
You got to look at it and go, wow, it looks beautiful, it's sexy. There's got to be something that pulls you to it.
That's
sexy for
hot.
sure. And what's the body made of? Is that what it almost looks like plastic, or is that the finish?
No, it's just the finish. There's
Okay.
there's a lot of material on this though. There's a lot of paint material and varnish and sealer and stuff. There's tons and tons and tons.
And was that bridge custom made for you?
This is actually a 1980s German-made bridge plate that has stainless steel components on it. It's actually a test I'm doing, and I'm liking the way it's reacting. It's very reactive to picking dynamics.
So just grab your guitar again. I just
Yeah.
want a close up of that bridge. That is outstanding.
Yeah, you probably want to show them the back too, because it's got a
Even the
big
input.
brass block. It's got a big brass block that affects the tone very much in the back. The trem block is a big brass block, and that affects tone and sustain in a big way.
Okay.
It's a secret to a Floyd Rose is through that and good quality saddles. As I was
You wanna
saying,
plug that one in and give it a try.
Sure.
All we need is David Coverdale, and we'd be.
Go ahead. You can sing.
No, not like that. In the still of the night.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
Yeah, so most of my guitars will have a lot of, one of the main things is when I'm designing a new guitar, this is always going to be there. It's going to be basically an access jack. One thing that drives me nuts about certain guitars is a jack that basically sticks out of the guitar this way.
Yeah, no, I just noticed that because
It's actually not my innovation,
Yeah.
you know. I'll be truthful and I'll say that the company that invented that is Yamaha back in the 80s, and they did it a few miles and never did it again.
Huh.
It's the smartest thing I've ever seen, because it just, some guys don't like it because there's a gouge in the body, but I mean, nobody ever looks at the back,
No,
right?
exactly. And then the worst is my bass. I love my bass. It's a great bass, but the
Jack's
jack
on top.
in the front, so you get this wire sticking
Yeah.
out. Like, even if
Same
I go
as-
wireless, I'll have
yeah.
this giant wire sticking out.
So that's
It
the one
just-
thing-
It gets in my way too.
Yeah, it's the one thing I'll usually design on a new model. The other thing is magnetic plates, magnetic wooden plates. The reason is simple, is that I don't want to see screws like I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
I think it's a faux pas. And if it's wood, you can actually paint it the same color as the guitar, and you never have to pull a screwdriver out.
Mm.
So talk about different. Well, actually, what I'll do is, you see this. I'll tell you how it starts really quick. It starts with a 10 plate, with a scaled 10 plate of it. So you design it, you scale it, you do everything exactly the size that it's going to be. That's designing it. So you start on MDF with a center line, and basically that's how a guitar is designed. Some guys will do it computer. I do it live on a piece of MDF, so that I know exactly how it's going to look, how it's going to feel, and I'll have a good idea how it's going to balance. And when you've got a scale version, you can't go wrong. You know exactly what you're doing, and you've got a piece to work with. So once that happens, you go to wood. So you got to source out a piece of wood that's going to be very stable.
Hi, my name is Janice, and I'm a friend of Mike Tessier's, and I have a story to tell you. Several years ago, after having played nothing but acoustic guitar for many years, I decided to get back into playing electrics again after a very long hiatus. I had a Yamaha electric that I wanted to trade in and get a Fender Stratocaster instead. So I called Mike Tessier, and I asked him if he happened to have any Fender Stratocasters for sale at the moment. He said, "You're in luck, I have 2 of them, and I'll send you pictures." So the first picture was of a dark brown and black one, and the second picture was of this work of art right here. When I saw that one, I said, "Mike, that is an amazing guitar. What an amazing design on it." I asked him if he got it that way or if he did it. And he said, "No, that was me. I am the one who put that design on that guitar." And I said, "Wow, how did you do that?" So he proceeded to tell me the long process and the hours and hours and hours of work that he put in to doing this. And I said, "How can you even think of parting with it?" I said, "That's a labor of love. It's a work of art, and it's an amazing achievement. So why wouldn't you want to keep it?" He said, "No, I'm okay with parting with it." And he said, "I'd be happy to part with it and let you have it." So he said, "Pack up your Yamaha and bring it over, and we'll do a trade-in and reduce the cost of the Fender." And he said, "Come on over, try both guitars and play them and see which one feels the best, sounds the best, which one appeals to you the most." So I'm in my car, and I went over to his place and tried both guitars, and I ended up with this one. It is such an honor and a privilege to have an amazing friend like Mike who was willing to give up a guitar like this, and I'm the very proud owner of it right now, and I'm going to take such an amazing care of it, and it sounds killer, and the action is perfect, and she's so easy to play, and she's so pretty.